What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. You know who this is. This is the truth, the man that spits facts like snakes spit venom. And I'm sitting here as the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin can only do with my boy, once again, the one and only Robbie. Is it? Oh, wait, no. I actually have a different co-host this evening. I have the only real superstar in Australian professional wrestling, the bad guy, the one and only, Vinnie fucking Vane. Vinnie, what's going on, baby?
I was good until you decided to call me Robbie Zuko. Not only am I way younger, I'm way better looking. Give me a break, man.
Bro, it was part of the gimmick, bro. I was just doing the intro, man. Come on, you just ruined the whole spot, bro. Come on now. But dude, today, you're guest co-hosting this episode. I'm really excited about it. We do have Kasai returning on the podcast, one of my favorite people in the entire world. And I say that about every single guest. I know I say that about every single guest, but this time I actually mean it. I'm really excited to have Kasai back on the podcast. I'm excited to have the one and only Vinnie Vane as well co-hosting. But before we get into it, I need to take a quick pause to talk about our sponsor for tonight's episode, and that is Sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, Sleefs.com. If you or someone you know is an athlete, you need to check out Sleefs. They've got all your athletic gear and wear covered. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, boots, mouth guards, and they've even got those dirty boxes that your boy Piers is always rocking underneath those sexy suits at shows. So guys, go and check out those dirty boxes. I'm going to tell you, they are the most epic. They are the most comfortable. They stay dry, they stay fresh, and they have funky designs at the front. Guys, look, I'm an active guy. I'm on the go all the time. I work full time. I do podcasts all the time. I go to the gym all the time. I got 3 crazy kids. I got 1 crazy wife. Just kidding, darling. But guys, seriously, these boxes are amazing. Go check them out at sleeps.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount at your final purchase. Also, wherever you're finding us and wherever you're tuning in, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. If you're finding us on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified, tap that little red button and tap in, because I'm bringing you some of the best conversations and interviews in professional wrestling, combat sports, in MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, comedy, music, hip hop, you name it. We're bringing it to you. And also, if you're listening on podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review, because that helps with our analytics. It helps us bring more amazing conversations to more amazing fucking people like yourselves. So get to tap in. And right now, we're about to get into our conversation with the one, the only motherfucking Kasai, baby. Yeah. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. It's me, Piers Austin with Vinnie Vane, and our guest, one of my favorite people in the entire world. And I say that about every guest, but this time I actually mean it. The one, the only, Kasai.
What's up?
What's going on, brother? What a way to make an entrance.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I literally just came back from a fucking jiu-jitsu competition, and I'm wrecked.
Did you win?
I won 3 matches by submission. I lost the 4th by referee's decision.
Loser.
Yeah.
The referee's decision, what does that mean? He thought that you were no way out of a submission, so you just
No, it was pretty back and forth. I had leg locks on him, he had leg locks on me. He tried to put me in an armbar, I escaped it fairly quickly. I tried to I tried to take him. I swept him. He swept me. We both had 2 points each for that. So it was 2-2. And then in the last 3 seconds, I landed a double leg takedown on him.
Mm-hmm.
But because when I finished the takedown, the buzzer had gone off. So I didn't have 3 seconds longer to get the 2 points for that takedown. So otherwise it would have been 2-4. But I think that the referee just thought that he was a little bit more attacking than I was. And you know what? I probably agree with him. I wish that I actually saw to do that double leg setup 5 seconds earlier so that I could have, because it would have landed. I just didn't recognize it until, 5 seconds too late. And then, yeah. But then everyone else, I just tapped out. I just subbed them and easy days. But this guy's good anyway, so I'll have another fight against him soon.
You've been doing a lot of these lately. I've noticed you've been less on the road with us and more doing these comps. Not that it's a bad thing, but what's the deal, man? Is this something you're taking seriously? Is this your new thing? Is this replacing your pro wrestling, or is this just a whatever? I want to try my hand at it.
For this year, it's not. For lack of a better word, yeah. For this year, it's definitely replacing it a little bit. But my goal is to blend them together.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen a few of your clips, like when you're coming out, and I think you've actually had a couple of grappling competitions where you've worn the Kasai gimmick, or not the whole gimmick, but the mask, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
were they cool with you doing that? Because jiu-jitsu is very prideful and respectful sport, so it's were they cool with you doing that kind of thing?
Well, they're also desperately needing entertainment.
Right.
And, there's a lot of the problem with grappling is that some of the rule sets under grappling, competitions and stuff can only be exciting if you partake in the sport.
Yeah.
But they're trying to grow it bigger, just like every other sport, basketball, soccer, football, whatever. They want just the average Joe to be able to sit down, watch, and be entertained by this grappling stuff. And there are definitely, organizations like the ADCC, which is like the Olympics of grappling, that, do that very well and are growing it to a big thing. But locally, with certain, scenes and stuff, they're trying to grow it as well and make a name for themselves, especially with YouTube and social media and everything.
Yeah.
So, one of the examples is there's this show called Grapple Mania. Obviously, they're having a pro wrestling theme to the event, and when they asked me to do it, the handful of times that I've done it, it was almost a requirement for me to wear the mask out.
Right.
That's dope.
They asked me, they were just like, okay, we want to put you on the show, but is it okay that you wear the mask out? And can you do your ninja pro wrestling stuff? And I didn't really know what that meant, because I'm thinking well, I'm not going to come out and start drop kicking people. So
imagine you just come out and just start chopping someone before instead of they go to slap it, you just fucking bang.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember the first time I did it. This was about a few months ago now. The first time I did it, it was so lame. I was so disappointed in my entrance. I had the mask on. I came out to smoke because it was an entrance row of smoke and stuff. It's at this gym in Cogra, Grappling Education. Great gym, great event, Grapple Mania. But I was so disappointed in my first entrance, because even though they had given me entrance of the night and I got a bunch of box of beef jerky as my reward.
Hey, protein, brother.
That's it. I watched it back and I was like, this is so lame. When I get on the next one, I have to show them exactly like Kasai. So, but there comes a price with that, because you're now going, I don't want to be that guy with the gimmick and everything, and comes out and gets tapped out for real in a second.
Well, that's what I was going to say, bro. Imagine you go out there doing that whole gimmick. Do you remember ever seeing that clip? It was it was probably 15 years ago, and it was this boxer, right? and he comes out dancing to like, I think he was like a Pakistani like featherweight fighter, right? And he comes out and he's doing the whole gimmick and dancing the whole thing, right? Goes in there, gets absolutely smoked in like a minute in the ring, and he's knocked out, gets back up, and then dances his way.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
bro.
You had to commit. You had to commit.
You live in the gimmick, brother. Like, yeah, I was like,
yeah. Well, it's definitely crossed my mind, but luckily I've had a lot of success this year with my grappling stuff. So I've actually gotten in the good books with a lot of different people and fans and everything, and it's growing. It's actually on YouTube, each event, Grapple Mania, with like a couple thousand views each. So it's
is there more people, more spectators at these grappling events than there is in pro wrestling events that you see in Sydney? Like
online, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, they don't. The difference is they don't have the buildings,
the infrastructure.
Sell out. We go out and have these monthly or tri-monthly shows, and we actually sell it to an audience. Whereas these guys are more doing it. If there is a building, it's probably going to be a tournament setting, and that means that there's going to be tournaments throughout the day. Which pretty much the only people that are going to show up and pay to be a spectator are probably the competitors and the competitors' family or friends or teammates or something like that. So even though it still might be like 5,000 people in a basketball stadium, it's still not getting as much eyes on what they're doing compared to what we would be doing, because everyone is watching one match, what we're doing, one event, one show, instead of 1,000 different. It's kind of like local basketball. Like there's probably 1,000 different teams playing in one night on a weekend, but how many people really noticed everything?
But it's funny because, like, the combat shows that I've worked on, like the MMA ones, the boxing and the Muay Thai, the crowds that they pull in, like the MMA show that I was at probably about a month ago, dude, that was like, fuck, they'd easily have over 1,000 people there, I reckon. Like close to it, dude. Like, it was packed. And this is like amateur MMA and guys like making their debut, like coming up to those pro ranks, right?
And a lot of hot females, I've heard.
Oh, dude, that was the place was decked out, bro. And even like the boxing event that I did, the Billy Hussein event, dude, like that had at the same place at that EWA did their first couple of shows.
In Campsie. Yeah.
Same event, bro, and it just 3 times as bigger.
Yeah,
like it was honestly like ridiculous. Like I was noticing cops at these events and stuff like that, and that's part of these events is like they have to have like paid, like, I mean, the difference between pro wrestling and like combat sports is like night and day, like as far as like production and everything goes into it and the crowds and stuff.
Well, if we're talking about local competitions with grappling, there's not that many audience members. But if we're talking about the events that some of these people are putting on, like not next week, the week after, there's going to be this event called Subversion, and it's going to be held, I forget where, but it's like somewhere in next to the city. I think it's like a big oval building or something, and it's going to be maybe 5,000 or 10,000 people there watching this grappling event on this massive mat sort of thing. So there are big shows out there, just like there's big pro wrestling shows out there, but there's also the local comps where there's a lot of people showing up, but no one's really watching your match.
Yeah, gotcha.
A handful
They're
of
just
people.
there.
They're just there, exactly. Yeah. So it's different, but it's good to have experience in both, because obviously both require different tactics and stuff like that. Like these Grapple Manias that I'm doing, it's just one match. It's like a one-on-one wrestling card, and you make your entrance, you come in, whatever, you win, you lose, and then sometimes you get to cut a promo afterwards, and it's hilarious. And then you go backstage and. Yeah, it's really cool. Next week, I got the qualifiers to be on that Subversion card the week after, so we'll see how I go with that.
I'm sure you're going to do well, man.
Yeah,
but
man.
My goal is to blend it.
How do you do with like the training, like between pro wrestling and grappling? Because it's like 2 different things, right? Professional wrestling and like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or shoot grappling, whatever you want to call it. Like how do you change up your personal training to fit in both and to keep your body in peak condition for both?
I rarely do pro wrestling stuff now unless I'm training somebody.
Sure.
And then I just make sure that my basics are, just up to date and good. Because I don't I can still do some complicated moves that I like to do. But apart from that, I'm just making sure my basics are good. Number one, for my safety. And number two, to just not overcomplicate my brain with body mechanics that are not necessary, especially when I'm trying to then, create habits for, real grappling. I don't want to.
You mean like remembering spots and stuff like that? Like you just don't overcomplicate it by like
not so much the spots, more so how the technique is done. I think a few weeks ago I showed, I don't remember if you were in the class, Vinny, but I was showing a drop toe hold. And
no, I wasn't there.
Okay, so because Zuko showed up, and I was showing.
Yeah, that was the night I wasn't there.
That's right. Yeah, the one night that Zuko comes and shows everyone how it's done. Yeah, but I was showing the drop toe hold, and for reference, I showed the real drop toe hold, like how it's done for a shoot, like a real fight, and it looked similar, but clearly it's done differently for pro wrestling purposes, like timing is a little differently so you can give the other guy a chance to actually take the move and not just fall on his face. The body language is a bit differently because you're trying to express it to the back audience members.
Sure.
Even the facial language, in the shoot one, you're going straight down. Whereas in this one, I actually want you to, before you take the bump, I actually want you to go backwards first.
Yeah. There you go.
Show everyone.
Yeah.
And then you take the fall. So clearly it's different. Now, I know how to do both, but I'm not going to be constantly in pro wrestling trying to remember all of these, especially as the moves get more complicated. I know how to do them, sure, but I'm not going to try to keep up to date habit-wise with all of this stuff unless I absolutely need to, whether it's training you guys or if I'm getting ready to take it more seriously overseas or something. Sure. Because apart from that, it's like, I don't want to, I'm not that smart. I got enough brain cells. I want to use them more for certain things that are actually applicable to what I'm doing in my day-to-day life. So,
what I find interesting is like, and I think I said this in the first podcast that we did, is like for a dude who is so young to have the awareness and intelligence of the business that you do is just insane. Like it's almost like, and this isn't an insult to you, but it's like almost like you're a bit of an old soul. It's like the times I've talked to you and it's like, and I found out like your shoot age, I was like, I think Vinny told me and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, like I was like completely blown away because it was like the conversations that we were having were just insane, dude. Like, and that your perspective on it. But as far as the business goes, dude, like what area of like professional wrestling do you feel that out of your game is the one that's lacking the most?
Out of my game for pro wrestling?
Yeah.
It's a really good question. Obviously, there's an answer. I think off the top of my head, I would say maybe variety.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
But like in variety, in what sense? Like moveset, or are you talking, character wise? Like
sort of a general variety. I think because I don't do it as often as other people. Like sure. Vinny is on way more shows than I am. He seeks out the bookings. He wants to be on these shows, and he does a great fucking job at getting the bookings and earning the bookings and doing good by the promoter in his bookings, right? So me, I'm not really that involved in the scene, to be honest. So I would say that when I do my pro wrestling stuff, not that it's repetitive, but it can become
flat, maybe.
Yeah, like because I'm always because my priorities are different from others.
Yeah,
sure.
And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that leaves me in the non-variety section. And I think that's why I lean into the gimmick a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say that because you got a lot of character. Like never found you variety lacking or flat or anything like that at all.
And that's why I like to lean into the gimmick a lot to bring the variety. Because I prefer to make it look as smooth and psychology field as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. At the same time, I don't just want to be. I don't just want to be a wog Bret Hart.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So as good as he was, but that's Bret Hart, and I'm not going to be Bret Hart because there's only one Bret Hart. So if I lean into this gimmick a lot more, which I'm pretty good at the gimmick anyway, and all of the body language that comes with it, I feel like that's where some of my variety can come from. But I feel like it's both. I feel like there's parts of me that needs to give that variety, but I also feel like it's also up to the booker to actually
give direction of what they want.
Allow me a platform to have variety, because if you just book me in a match, win, lose, go backstage, you're not utilizing the gimmick that you can as a promoter. Put me in a segment. Help make a promo. Ask for a promo package. Like, for example, the thing that I did with Zuko at the beginning of last year, that little horror film promo. Like,
that was dope.
That's 10 years too late.
Right.
Like, finally someone decided that Kasai should be lurking in the backgrounds, in the shadows, and stalking his opponent. Who would have fucking knew? He's a ninja. Wow. Like, you know what I mean? Now have I wanted to do that stuff all along? Of course I have. But the production that came with that's what made it so good. If we had done that on a phone camera like everyone else does on their promos, that wouldn't have looked any good. Doesn't matter what the idea is.
And that's the thing. Sometimes, man, you got to do what you got to do to get content out and to get promos out. Like, I know me and Vinnie, like, we've done shit on phones just to get like a promo out and stuff like that. But like, we try and take advantage of good production when we can. And we're lucky.
I think certain gimmicks pigeonhole themselves though, because they can't do that. You and Vinnie can get away with it because it's Piers and Vinnie, whereas I'm supposed to be this mythical stalking ninja. Why the fuck do I have a Samsung?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So some gimmick, like, imagine, now obviously I'm not comparing myself to the Undertaker. Like, to any of you fucking marks watching, thinking, oh, he thinks no. But look at someone like The Undertaker or Kane or Mankind or any of these gimmicks that were a lot more larger than the average pro wrestler on the show, right?
Yeah. They were captivating.
Exactly. Like, you had to now put forth a level of production that matched that gimmick. You couldn't just be like, oh yeah, just stand over there and be in the background, and then Kane walks past, and it's like, no, you needed the boiler room for Mankind, and you needed the graves for the Undertaker, and Kane needed to be in some burning fucking fire flame. Like,
well, can I ask you a question on that? Because you raise a very good point, and this is something I've had a gripe with, especially with Aussie wrestling, and from what I see in my experiences. You said you lean into the character, yeah? And I think that's great, because I think, like, I've always advocated, I don't care what you can do in the ring. I think, like, it should be a certain standard and everyone should be able to do that, but what more do you bring to the table? And I think, Jordan, you're one of the few characters on the indie scene here that has a character. I think a lot of the people that are I'm not going to call out names, but some of the people that are wrestling, it's like, well, what's their character? What's their gimmick? It's just like, generic flippy guy number 14 or, muscle guy number 3. Like, I don't get the character. Like, I don't get the gimmick. Even like your name, Kasai, correct me if I'm wrong, is fire in Japanese? Yep. Cool.
That's why I got
right, but I get it. You can walk through a curtain, and I can say this guy's a ninja or a karate dude or a kung fu dude, even for the completely uneducated in martial arts. So I know what you're going to do. Okay, I like to think similar to my character. Like you walk out, and it's like, oh, this little cocky pretty boy, wog boy prick. Like, you know what I mean? Like I automatically don't like him. Whereas I look at some wrestlers, and it's like, I don't get what you are. Like I don't know, and I think that is what's lacking in the scene here. And there's nothing wrong with gimmicks and characters. Like I think that's what is the entertainment in what we do, not Canadian Destroyer, flip, moonsault.
You know what?
And let me just say this: it's like you look at the match that you and Zuko had at EWA, right? The cage match. So that match, like on paper, right? And this is what it is on paper. Like I love Zuko, love you. So like you've got on paper a 50s greaser versus a ninja, right? So, you know what I mean? Like straight away on paper, you go, this is going to be some hokey shit. Then you see a match that you guys have and it's anything but hokey, right? And I even give that the same credit to someone like Buccaneer, where it's like, oh, this guy's a pirate.
Love that guy.
Same here, bro. Love that guy to death. But it's like, this guy's a pirate, right? And then you see him work. He works like a big man. He doesn't take stupid bumps. He doesn't take unnecessary punishment. And that cage match that you guys did, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, was not hokey, but on paper, like I said, the 50s greaser versus the ninja. You know what I mean? Like, you go, oh, what the fuck is this going to be?
But why do people want to see, like, vanilla guy number 1 against vanilla guy number 2 with their own names? Like, who cares? Like, what's so special about them?
It brings up a funny comparison now, coming back to grappling and pro wrestling, because when I'm on these grappling events and even the local comps that aren't filmed and aren't really watched by everyone, right? You got these guys who are fucking. They're dangerous. They're very skilled. Like they get a hold of your leg or your arm, they're gonna break it off.
100%.
But at the same time, why when I fucking put this thing on, all of a sudden, my attention goes straight up?
Because
I'm not even one of the best, and I'm not even one of the good guys. I'm a blue belt. You know what I mean? So there's clearly entertainment.
You stand out because you're different, bro. And it's like the entertainment level. And it's like, because now I'm like with, getting booked doing commentary on these combat sports shows, right? I go in there and go, what do you want? We want you to bring the entertainment. We want you to do what you do on pro wrestling and bring it here and make it relevant to like boxing, MMA, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. So, you know what I mean? Like they want me to be the fast-paced, flamboyant, like commentator, like to bring that excitement to the product. So you're seeing that more and more in combat sports because they want to get that more attention. Dude, if you look at
what I find funny though is you got pro wrestling, which is fake. It's not real. So why are these guys going out there and are being by choice vanilla number 1 and vanilla number 2?
Well, that's what I don't get.
Like it's at least the grappling guys, they're focused on being skilled competitors because it is real. Why are we in pro wrestling actually having boring people in a fake fight? And why?
But let me put it this way. I'll say, why are you calling it a fake fight, bro? Like you're a veteran of the business, and I know that, bro. But you know what I mean? Like in the history of the business, you call the business fake, bro. Like that's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like.
No, because no. Only because right now, I call the business fake. I always do. Right. I don't even say fixed. I say fake. I know people don't like that, but coming back to my point, you got these real grapplers over here that are real grapplers. They actually know how to kill you if they wanted to. Right. We are the complete, well, not me, but we in pro wrestling are the complete polar opposite today. There are no real grapplers. No one knows anything. And that is so visible when you watch the show. So not only are they deciding to be vanilla number 1 and vanilla number 2, they also have no wrestling skill or presence of actual danger whatsoever. I am not going to entertain any of these cosplay beta male fucks and say it's anything but fake. It's fucking fake. And the time that they start putting some effort in and actually showing the audience something to believe in, whether that's a gimmick, whether that's their wrestling, whether that's the story, anything for this audience to actually believe in, to immerse themselves in it, whether they know it's real or not, it doesn't matter, but something for them to actually immerse themselves in. Look how many people line up and watch fucking Avengers Endgame. Do you really think they think it's real? Of course they know it's not real. And I'm sure no one will get upset if you call it fake either. But they actually are having emotional responses to this fake fucking movie. And that was filmed how long ago before we see it? We can't even get these people to enjoy and immerse themselves in what we're doing right in front of their fucking faces.
It's got a point.
I call pro wrestling fake.
It's not. Look, you're not wrong, because you were alluding to before about like Piers. You said entertainment, right? Like they want you to bring the entertainment. Why do you think what's his name? That fucking Irish boy in MMA, the guy, Conor McGregor, and Mike Tyson and Anthony Mundine. Like, why do you think they were such big box office draws? Because they were entertaining. They knew how to bring the entertainment to the sport to make it good.
That's the whole thing. It's about, bringing in, people to want to watch the fight. Like, you never see, like, people always go
good at their fighting.
That's right. They were also to see Mike Tyson was a legit
good.
killer.
They weren't chumps just talking on the microphone like, I'm going to kick. So they were actually good at what they did. That's the difference between us and them. How many pro wrestlers are actually fucking pro wrestlers?
Zilch.
So when a pro wrestler goes on the microphone and is like, I'm the best thing going, fuck off. You don't even know a headlock from your wristwatch.
Hang on. Let's be real. If we would have put all the pro wrestlers, right? Like let's say if I would back myself in this hard. If they said, oh, you're going to fight this guy for real on a show, I would back myself that I'm walking out of that match as a winner. Like, because I look around at the talent. I'm like, I'm a skinny guy, but I have my martial arts background. Like, I know I could probably wouldn't be able to hang with you, but like I can hold my own. And I don't think many people, to your point, in Australian wrestling can do that. I think, like, to your point, we're trained to do wrist lock, hammerlock, headlock. But you put them in a real fight, get the fuck out of here. There might be like 10 or 20 tops that can actually fight.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that everyone has to be a UFC fighter level and then do WWE pro wrestling. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to have some sort of a background in general. Yeah. Even back in, if we're going to go history now, when Vern Gagne was training, Ric Flair and all those guys, and there was that camp. You still had Billy Robinson, the great catch wrestler, showing these guys how to actually wrestle, at least at a fundamental beginner level, at a white belt level, at a blue belt level.
Hang on, didn't Steve Austin say, I don't know this shit, but this is like some marky crap, I'm sorry, but didn't Steve Austin say he thought it was real until like 5 seconds before he went out for his first match? Did I hear that?
He thought it was real up until in his first match.
Yeah, because the training was real. Yeah, because the training was real. Yeah. Because the training actually showed them how to wrestle.
Yeah, exactly my point.
That's the difference between and Vinnie, and you know this. I only show shoot stuff in my classes? No. Obviously the pro wrestling business is at a time now, because of the way everything moves so quickly. It's not even just pro wrestling, it's the entire world. Everything just moves so quickly. I have to actually, in order to retain interest from students and from people and all this kind of stuff, I have to give and take with what I should actually be teaching. Am I teaching the basics? Of course I am, but I am showing a little bit of not shoot so you guys can hurt each other, shoot from the concept of you understand what you're actually trying to accomplish.
Psychology, the psychology behind it,
and it's nothing that you're not going to use either. That's another thing. I'm not I know that, especially because I'm only doing it once a week with you guys, that I shouldn't be actually showing you things like a close guard, even though it's fundamentally a very important part of real grappling, real wrestling, submission wrestling. Because of the way that pro wrestling is, I won't show you that. But that also comes down to the rule set, which is, I think, a big thing that people don't pay attention to. When you look at the pro wrestling rule set, it's pinfall or submission. That's what gets you the win. Yeah. But nobody wrestles with that in mind.
Intention, yeah, for sure.
Can I just take it back a bit, because we're talking about like professional wrestlers not knowing how to grapple like as a shoot style. You know, like my sort of take on that, and I wanted to put my 2 cents into that, and sorry to sort of take it back off a little bit, but I kind of feel like it's two different type of worlds, and it's like some people get into professional wrestling aren't getting into it because they love grappling, so to speak. It might be that they love the performance aspect of it. Whatever particular reason people decide to get in wrestling, but it's not always necessarily that they want to learn how to be the greatest grappler of all time.
I understand that. that. But here's where I have to say, please, to all those people, be consistent in what you're saying. Don't turn around and then say, oh, well, this didn't make sense on the show. Fuck off. You're not making sense of anything on the show. Yeah. Don't turn around and then say, oh, my gimmick, my character wouldn't do that. Your character doesn't even know what a pinfall and a submission is.
Yeah.
Don't turn around. Like, this is where why even have a rule set? Why have the rule set in the first place? Pinfall, submission, you can't get disqualified, you can't get counted out. Why even have that? Why not every match just be a ladder match? Why not at what point do we just throw everything out the window and go, okay, listen to this, right? I said this to some people in training to get their head around how pro wrestling is fucking easy. It's supposed to be fucking easy. We complicate it. Imagine a basketball player, right? They hated dribbling. They did not fucking like dribbling. Right?
Yeah.
They know that they have other people on their team. And they were like, you know what? I hate dribbling so much, but I still want to win. So I'm going to make all these fucking game plans and all these tactics and strategies and maneuvers and everything to avoid fucking dribbling. I'm going to pass it to him. He's going to pass it back to me. I'm going to run over there. Oh, yeah, right? You still won the game. But what would you say about that guy?
Just made his life hell of a lot harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference between what he's doing and what 99.9% of professional wrestlers are doing by not learning a single fucking bit of wrestling?
Nothing, because the reason is we are so fixated on, we're going to do the start, we're going to do the shine, we're going to do the cutoff, the heat, the false, the hope spot, Yeah, and we don't stick to that idea of he's on the ground, keep him on the ground, try and pin him, put on a hold. It's like, no, we're in the heat now, so I got to get him back up and shoot him off and clothesline him and then cover him and then get him back up again and suplex and cover him and then get him up again, and now he'll have a comeback. And we're following the formula instead of the rules, and that's the problem. Yeah.
But dude, like, you watch some certain wrestling, right? And I watched a match on NXT not long ago, and it was a triple threat match, and it was legit. You could see it was one person comes in, he does 3 spots, the other person feeds for him, then that person rolls out, then the next guy comes in, he hits 3 spots, and then he rolls out. You know what I mean? And then it goes into the finish. And it was like, it wasn't I felt like watching it wasn't a professional wrestling match. Watching it, to me, honestly, it was just like a display of moves. It looked good. It looked crisp. It looked entertaining. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I don't feel like it was a match. I feel like it was a training, like it was almost like a drill. If you know what I mean? And certain storytelling is missing in wrestling in general, not just in our scene here, but I feel like wrestling across the world, storytelling is missing. And it's like there's promotions out there trying to do shock value stuff to get clickbait and to get eyes on their product. And you know what? I don't hate on that, because I find hey man, go out there and get as much eyes on your brand as possible. Do what you got to do. But I feel there's a lot of old heads that turn around and criticize professional wrestling and go, oh, that's really bad. That's really shit. Well, does it get a reaction? Is it over? You know what I mean? Because I feel like if he gets
is
a
it
huge
making money?
Exactly.
Let's find a compromise.
Be good, right?
Yeah,
well, let's find a balance. Let's find a compromise here, right? Now, I'm saying all of this, and I've got my grappling, and I want to really go far with that, and I've got my pro wrestling that I've done for the last 10 years, right? And I've got the gimmick of this fucking ninja, right? And I've always lent very heavily into that. At the same time, I appreciate the stars like The Undertaker, the Kanes, the Mankinds, all this kind of stuff. So it's not that I'm against, the eccentric parts of professional wrestling, but I also really value the psychology and the storytelling of, really showing that you actually want to win, and in the matches where we have to obey the rule set, we have to pin or submit, and all that kind of stuff.
You're keeping it real.
Did you ever?
Why can't we have both? This is what I'm saying. Is like, why can't we have both? As long as we are telling the story that I'm trying to win, and you're trying to win, and I'm not gonna lose, and you're not gonna lose, and I'm gonna do everything I can to win via the rules that are in place. Especially when you start to, and that's just from a neutral standpoint. We might be not even baby faces or heels. We're just neutral. Yeah. Now, put it into the bait. Now add. So we've already we've put the layer down of, okay, we want to win, right? Both competitors want to win. Now put the layer on top of that of a baby face and a heel. Well, hang on a second. Now the rule set matters so much more. Why? Because you can't cheat if there's no rules. Yes, we want to both win, but if you're not allowed to punch someone in the face with a closed fist, all of a sudden, if this heel now does it behind the referee's back to the babyface, he now has an advantage to win. And this babyface and everyone that loves that guy to death isn't really going to enjoy that, which makes the storytelling easy because you can now get heat and a payoff from that action alone of just the closed fist, but you're not going to ever have that payoff, heat, or action or reaction from the audience if it is not treated as such that the closed fist is illegal. But when you start punching, and this is why people say, when they start planning everything and doing all this kind of stuff, and like what Vinnie was saying, we overcomplicate everything. This is where it all falls apart because like what you were just saying, Piers, the moves, it just becomes a display of moves. It becomes a display of moves when you basically throw out every move that actually has a consequence out the window.
Okay, but Jordan, let me ask you this, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. I see merit to everything you're saying, but then if people want to watch that, why don't they just go and watch MMA or grappling or boxing or something where the rules are so clear cut, where it's like, knock your opponent out, land more points. Like, this is supposed to be a bit of a spectacle and a bit of entertainment. Like I said, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
But I think the key to what you're saying is, yes, obey the rules, use the psychology, but you got to have a balance of the bullshit and the realism, and you got to meet somewhere in the middle.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%, especially the way that the business is today. I agree 110%. But we have to also split these two conversations up. In the first part, you asked, why aren't people watching MMA? Well, they are. It is way bigger than pro wrestling.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
So those people are. Pro wrestling has lost so many audience members to boxing, to MMA, to grappling, especially now that grappling is becoming such a bigger sport in the grand scheme of things.
Everyone is doing it. Like,
everyone's
everybody.
Now doing it. So they are watching that stuff. And now when we come over to this side, the reason why I now say, well, we need the balance over here is because there's nothing wrong with the extras and the extra entertainment and the extra everything, right? Clearly, that's why grappling is, loving the stuff that I'm doing right now.
Well, let me put it to you like this, bro. If boxing, for example, right? If boxing had no entertaining characters at all, and you had guys going, well, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give one of the best fights that I can possibly do because, I'm a champion and I'm going to fight like a champion. And I know that this competitor, he's going to be a mighty test for me. No, bro. You want the guy that's going to go out there and go, hey, man, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy when it's all said and done. I'm going to slap his wife on her ass and tell her to go make me a steak, medium rare. And then I'm just the way I like it. And I'm going to sit down and hoe into that bitch. And then I'm going to be sitting there in the winner's circle. Let's go, baby. And then automatically fans are automatically going, what the fuck did he just say to that shit?
Yeah.
Like, now I want to see this guy get his ass kicked or see if he can really live up to what he just said.
Exactly. That's the entertainment value. But that's what pro wrestling should be.
That's what pro wrestling should be. And pro wrestling always was that. You go back in time to Luthez, he was doing all that.
Oh, look, my philosophy as a heel is insult everybody. That's what you got to do. If you want to get heat, insult everyone. Doesn't matter, man, woman, child, everything in between. Fucking insult them. Get
my point is that it's not like pro wrestling evolved into this entertaining mic work. It always was there.
Yeah.
It was even there when pro wrestling was real as catch wrestling. My issue isn't that part of the entertainment. My issue is, at what point did we actually stop looking to tell the story of winning and sacrifice it for just saying things, which in turn makes no sense because you're saying this and you're saying, oh, I'm going to fuck his wife, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be the man. Well, how? You have to win.
Yeah. Well, dude, do you think like
you're not even showing us that you want to win? Why? Because you probably bumped the guy, and then with your bare hand picked him up, and then bumped him again, and then with your bare hand picked him up, and then bumped him again, and with your bare hand picked him up. Number one, you don't want to win, and number two, how the fuck are you picking up a grown ass man with your bare fucking hand? He's clearly helping you, therefore it's fake.
Well, that's the point. You talk about what they say, but I also look at it and I watch some wrestling, and I'm just like, how did that guy, if we were talking real, how would he get up? Like after that, like some of the things you see, and they're kicking out at 2, and you're like, come on, man, like that should be the end of the match, realistically. And then, oh yeah, but it was awesome, and it's like, yeah, for the fans, but when you watch it, you're like you're showing them the strings, like the puppet show. They can see the strings now.
Well,
do you think fans? Sorry.
Well, that comes down to when you know what? There comes a point in time where I will let them do that. I'll let guys do that shit.
What choice do you have?
I'll let them kick out of everything, and it's like I won't even bother saying anything or even having an opinion or even letting it go past my mind. I'll go, you know what? Yeah, let them do it. Let them do it. Yeah, and then people might have been like, "Oh, but they're killing the fucking show." No, let them do it. Let them do it. Because I've been on shows where someone has me in a headlock on the floor, and I do a simple head scissors reversal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can hear the audience from my head scissors. And then when the guy kicked up out of my head scissors, whoa! I've been on shows where I can get that reaction from that. So it all comes down to, are you a worker or you're, wrestler? There's a difference, right? So I don't really care when people start doing all that stuff because, there's an art to what we're doing. And when it's like pretend the audience is a really hot chick, right? You don't want them to know that you really give a shit. Otherwise, you gotta fucking, if you start here, you gotta keep fucking going, right? And that's where all that comes from. These people, what in the business, care so much about the audience's approval, like they would a hot chick.
Yeah.
That they do everything in the book. But as we know, with many women, when you set the bar this high, there's no going down. There's no going down. You cannot go down. So the second that you try to tell a story, you try to slow it down, they're like, whoa, what the fuck? Where'd my speaks go? Where'd my you used to always do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You set the standard.
You always like talking to me about my fucking movie. You used to all that shit. right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, I get you.
When you just tell them a story, you keep it interesting, and then when you start to build and build and build,
and get to the climax,
you take shit away from her. Nah, sorry, I can't hang out tonight. Why?
What do you mean?
Why not? Oh, I've just got something to do.
But Moe, you told me I was your one forever.
I do. It's just I'm just busy tonight.
Yeah.
Can I come? Nah, it's just something I got to do by myself. So you don't want me there? It's not that I don't want you there. It's just something I got to do. Oh, but and then you give it back, and that's the hope spot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. And then last minute you call it. Oh, hey, how you going? Hey, what's up? Oh, I thought you were busy tonight. Yeah, I was, but I finished a little early. I wanted to say hi. Oh, but that's telling a story, right?
Yeah.
That's using the audience in a good fashion instead of just doing every fucking move in the book, hoping, praying that they give a shit to go, oh wow, this is awesome.
But can I add to that? Because you mentioned something, I might get hung for this, right? But like I've seen so many matches, like whether it be on WWE or shows I've worked on, where the match drags on forever in a day. And like to your point, Jordan, the realism in some of these fights, right? Like we're trying to keep it like real, yeah. MMA goes for a championship match, 5 rounds, 5 minutes, yeah. Why the fuck am I watching a pro wrestling match that is going 30 minutes or an hour? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm bored after 7 or 8 minutes. Like, what?
Dude,
like,
but on a TV thing, sometimes it might be like, okay, you guys need to go a bit longer.
You know what I mean? Like, I get that. I understand that. I get that reasoning. But then why are we as workers, like Jordan, I think we had this conversation like a week or so ago where it was like, if you're given 7 minutes, right? Oh, but I'm going to go 10 because I want to get all my shit in. Like, you've now cost the next bloke money, essentially, because if you're paid for the amount of time you're on TV, you've cut his time short. From a fan's perspective, if you've thrown everything at this bloke in 7 or 8 minutes, what more are you going to show me? He's kicked out of everything. You've told me it's bullshit. I don't believe it anymore. Like, hurry up and go home. I hate to say this, but like, what was it? The Rock and Cena, like 10 years ago plus, before I was even wrestling, when I was a fan. I'll be honest with you, I was bored. Like, I was like, can this shit hurry up and end so I can fucking...
But you know what? Like, I think it depends. Like, some guys just don't have, like, or some people, performers may not just have that spark with each other. And you saw that with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania.
So why beat a dead horse?
Because sometimes you have to go out there and get the shit done, right? Like, if you're supposed to go out there and do 15 minutes and you finish in 5 minutes, are you going to have the promoter shitty at you?
Look, I'm notorious for that. Okay, like literally, I've done that a few times this year. Like recently, like
I've got an answer for this. So,
all right, go tell me.
So there are a few things. You're both right in the sense that there's obviously a time and a place for everything, right? Obviously, you might just not gel with that guy, right? As Piers was saying, you might not gel, but the audience, sorry, not the audience, the promoter is asking for a certain thing to be done, especially when there's TV involved and all that kind of stuff. Things have to be done a certain way. I understand that completely.
Yeah, we've all been there.
But it also comes on the other part away from the outside factors. So those are the outside factors, right? Now let's look at the inside factors, stuff that you can actually control, because you can't control your chemistry with another wrestler, all right, to a certain extent. And you can't control the fact that, you're in the promoter's time and TV and all that kind of stuff. But let's look at what you can actually control. There are matches that 100% can be half an hour that do drag on, that shouldn't look like they drag on, because it's a way that the people are working. Now, if you're working in a sense that makes it drag on, everything just, oh, come on, as if that wasn't a finish. Oh, another kick out. Oh, wow. Because those matches are relying on moves. So if you think about it like this, right? You've got a map, okay? And the map is supposed to go around the world. All right? You're doing a round the world trip. If every time you land, it is so far, it's so close to your destination, how many trips do you really have? You know what I mean? You might have 5 if you go far enough. But what if you stop in every single airport along the way? You're able to now drag out the trip, which I mean, is what we're trying to say, right? We're trying to drag out this match, but not look like it's dragging on. We're trying to drag it out for time. But if you go to every single airport now along the way, it's not going to be the same story.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Now in Tokyo, you look in the Tokyo airport, it's going to be way different than, the Auckland airport. Now you go over to California, right? Oh, sorry, LAX, Los Angeles. It's going to be way different than it is over in, Hong Kong. I don't know what the airport is for Hong Kong, but you get my gist, right? You go into all these different places of the world, you're bound to see something new. You're bound to be excited about something else, something else, something else, something else. The match, step for step, need to be that drastic in difference of appearance as we go along? No. But you should have a story that's compelling enough to where you do have a beginning, a middle, and an end, just like every movie. You've got a lot. How many movies are there that are like 3 hours long, 4 hours long?
Yeah, but if I don't like it, I turn it off or change the channel.
Dude, you know what? Like,
they don't tell the whole. They don't tell one story the entire movie. They tell. Sure, there's the thing that they're trying to get over. Of course, there is the good guy, bad guy. This guy don't like this guy. Okay, we get it, right. That's the foundation I was talking about earlier. But when you start adding those layers to everything, that 3-hour movie is so interesting because you see the first part of it, right? And then you see the second and the third and the fourth, and you keep going on in those blocks of half an hour, even 15 minutes. But it's taking you on a journey. It's not just saying, oh, here we are for half an hour. No. You're coming on a journey with us. Okay. And you're going to see some stuff in the beginning of the journey that might, make you remember something in the mind, telling a story, maybe working an arm or a leg or, something happens. And then later on in the next thing and the next thing. And movie people do this so well with dialogue all the time. They will mention something in the passing, maybe someone passes them and just mentions something. And all of a sudden that person has that stuck in their mind. And the next scene, it's like, oh yeah, that person mentioned that.
Yeah, I get you.
So we can do, but the problem is, here's the problem though. Here's the problem. And now this is actually the perfect time to talk about a lot of the training stuff that we're doing. The problem is that we have to be able to do this physically with our bodies.
Yeah.
Not just with our words and not just with our voice and not even just with noise. We have to, the number one thing that we have to actually project is body language. Now, when you've got someone like me who's got a mask, you don't have a fucking choice but to have good body language. Yeah. And that's why, in my opinion, I am so grateful for being in the mask for this long. I've only wrestled a handful of matches on my hand that I could really say without the mask, because it's just made me so good in projecting the body language. And there's an old story about Jerry Lawler that Jim Cornette would say a lot on his podcast. He would say that Jerry could be facing, you could be looking at the back of Jerry's head from the fucking nosebleeds. Yeah. And you could be looking at the back of Jerry's head all the way from up there. And you knew exactly what his face looked like.
Right.
You knew exactly what was on his mind. You knew exactly what he was thinking. And then when he turned around, you were right.
Yeah.
Because it was just a presence. It was just his body language. He was just so good at that we don't have 360 view. There's going to be a lot of people looking at the back of your fucking head when you're on the shows. But if you can get your presence, your body language, the aura about you to the point where they can see through the back of your head and they just know what is on your face right now, exactly your intention, exactly what you're thinking right now, exactly what your emotion is taking you, exactly what your thoughts are saying. You're not even saying anything right now, but your thoughts. Oh, he's gonna get him. He's gonna get him, and he's gonna punch him in the face. When he punches him in the face, he's gonna use these 2 knuckles because that's what's gonna drive his fucking fist into it. You know that, right? Now, am I the best at this? Of course I'm not. Can I do it to a certain degree? Of course I can. Sure. But should we all be aiming for this? Yes, we should.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and this is where we can come back a little bit and say, okay, well, why do people drag on these matches? Because they don't even have body language.
Right.
If they can't even get down the body language, how can they get down this move for move for move for move for move? Because let's just say they do 20 moves, right? That should be an hour.
Yeah, but it's not. It's 6 minutes.
It's 6 fucking minutes. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have body language, and when you don't have body language, you don't have pacing. When you don't have pacing, you rush. And when you rush, you go through the moves. And when you go through the moves, you waste your bumps. And when you waste your bumps, nothing means anything anymore. And when nothing means anything anymore, how the fuck does anyone going to care? Again, I guess because it's fake.
Yeah.
You know? And when I say fake, I don't just mean the actual, predetermined outcome. It's literally fake. No one is even bothering to show body language or facial expressions. So even that's fake. Some people don't even have gear. So even that's fake. Some people don't even look the part physically in any way. Forget about weight divisions. Obviously, there's lightweights, middleweights, heavyweights, and so on and so forth. But not even at any athletic composition whatsoever. You got some guys walking around looking disgusting. So I guess that's fake too. So at what point am I actually supposed to say anything positive about this professional wrestling business apart that takes the fake, word away? When you look at the average professional wrestler, and that's what we're talking about, right? It's the average professional wrestler. Yeah. Because that is the vast majority of the people representing, because at the end of the day, they are representing our sport all over the world. What else am I going to call what they're doing other than fake? There's nothing real to it.
If that's the way you feel, why do you do it? Why are you involved in pro wrestling?
Because here's another saying, right, that I absolutely love. And I think it was Dr. David Schultz. Dr. D. David Schultz, Dr. Death, right?
Dr. Death, yeah.
Dr. D. David Schultz. I always get him mixed up with Dr. Death, the other one, the football player.
Steve Williams.
Right? That's it.
Yeah.
But David Schultz, right? And I think David Schultz got this off another professional wrestler whose mind is escaping me right now. It would have been the generation previous to him. He always used to say, I can't convince anyone that pro wrestling is real, but I have no problem convincing you that I am.
Well, remember Dave Schultz was the guy that bitch slapped that fucking reporter back in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
He was the reporter guy who's like, oh, yeah, it's fake what you do. And he goes, boom, slapped him. Is that fake?
But look at the context. What business was he protecting at the time?
The business.
It's not this business now. It's not the same.
No, it's not.
Not the same. No. Fuck these guys. Fuck them. I will throw every single professional wrestler under the fucking bus to protect the business. Because right now it's flipped on its fucking head. Back then it was different. Every single professional wrestler will throw themselves under the bus if it meant protecting the business, as he fucking did.
I think it's got a lot to do with social media, and like I've been guilty of it. Like, oh, I'm wrestling, this bloke, and then the next minute, hey, here's a fucking selfie on my story, and like we've killed it, like we've totally fucked it.
Everyone wants to be the star of their own film, and Vinnie, you know this. At the gym, there's a board, an etiquette board, right? And for those who don't know, I've actually been starting to train people in pro wrestling. Monday nights at the Lights Out Fight Club in Moorbank, and I've been doing that for about 6-7 months now, and I'm having some good success with a lot of students. Vinnie Vane is one of my students. Okay, he's come to me, right, almost like a moldable piece of clay. He listens. He fucking does what I'm saying. I see him actually trying to implement things on shows, And even when you make mistakes, which we all are going to, that's actually the beautiful part of learning, is the mistake process. You have to make the mistakes in order to really understand what you're doing, because without the consequence, because there's a difference between example and consequence. Example is just theory. Consequence is you now understand why you need to do this, right? And you know, he's been a perfect example of my teachings thus far, you know, and we're just going to keep growing and getting better. But
Absolutely.
Coming back to that etiquette board that I have in the gym, you know, it's just a little etiquette board of a bunch of bullet points that I've laid out for any student that comes in that gym. I don't care if you're fucking 50 years in the business or it's your first day. You know, you better have that fucking etiquette board not memorized or anything, but each point you better understand, because it's not too hard. It's very simple, each of these points. And one of these points I would have to go over with a lot of the new guys, because when new people would come in, right? And anyone who knows me, like Vinnie Vane and stuff, I wouldn't have to really explain this point to them, because if they didn't understand it, I wouldn't really be cordial towards you.
Yeah, Iceman over here, yeah.
So because I am cordial towards you, I'm aware that you understand, you know, this point. But you know, you never know who's going to rock up to the gym some days. So sometimes I have to bring, you know, the new guy, and you know,
a lot of different people have come through the door and continue to come through the door.
You know, and some people I've known for a few years, but I've never trained with them, and I've never really had a proper, you know, discussion about professional wrestling with them. So I have to, you know, can you please read this board and just keep this stuff in your mind? And then, and I think it's the 5th point on the board, actually. It's leave your ego at the door. The sport comes first. And it's self-explanatory, obviously, but I don't think people really understand what that means. Because I'll ask them, I'll say, so self-explanatory, yes, but do you actually understand what this means? And then they'll say, oh yeah, you know, like don't have an ego, like help each other out, like yeah. And they give me these, you know, broad, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong at all. But I go into a little bit more detail and I say, well, listen, I want you to remember something. When I say leave your ego at the door, the sport comes first, you're concerned about the ego part. And that's because you're relating it to yourself. That's not really the most important part of this point. The most important part of this point is the sport comes first. Now, are you prepared to put the sport first? Obviously, your ego has to be at the door, but
sure.
But are you prepared to actually put the sport first? And again, they still don't really understand what I mean by that. They're like, oh yeah, I love the business. Yeah, I want to be a pro wrestler, you know, and they always come back to I. So I explain to them, I say, listen, you're saying a lot of I's, and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or anything, but I need you to understand that if you left the business tomorrow, apart from yourself, no one would give a fuck. And I let them sink that in a little bit. And here's how and that when I say that to these people, instantly from their reaction, I know if they're sticking around or not. Not sticking around in the business or not. Sticking around with me or not. Because I'm trying to put forth a very specific standard of what I'm actually, or of who I actually want to teach. Okay? You can come to me with all of the mistakes in the world, all the bad habits in the world. You know, you might not be the most athletically gifted person in the world at all. Hey, me neither. I had to work for every fucking skill that I had. All right? But with all of that, I don't have a problem with you. You could make 1,000 fucking mistakes. Not an issue. You know, you could fuck things up as much as possible. As long as you stay safe, not an issue. But if you think that I am going to tolerate you not respecting the business enough to actually put it first in such a way that you are self-aware that even if you leave, no one will give a fuck, because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about the business. You're just another cog in the fucking machine. And once you start making things about yourself, you will naturally start shitting on the fucking business. I've seen it time and time again. You see guys coming in and out going, you know what? I want to do this gimmick. I want to do that. I want to be like this. I want to be like that. And then you go, hang on a second. That does a lot for you, but what does it do for the business? What are you doing for the business that so you deserve this spot, or you deserve this gimmick, or you deserve this way of being treated? You know? And instantly I know if people are going to stick around or not. And I've already kicked out 2 people because, you know, even not from their reaction, but 3 months down the line,
something happened.
Haven't changed.
Yeah.
Their mindset still, oh, but I really want to be like this. I don't give a fuck. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Right? Remember the Bronx Tale? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Great fucking movie.
Oh, bro, one of the best, bro. One of the best. I love gangster movies, bro. You know what? That's what I'm a mark for, bro. I'm a mark for gangster shit, gangster movies.
Oh, yeah, you look like a little bald Joe Pesci over there.
Yeah, I look like a fucking county or what, man? Hey. But dude, let me ask you this, dude, like a bit of a change up of thing. Like, you were actually in one of our promos that we actually got to shoot when we came down to shoot something at Lights Out Fight Gym, and it was actually pretty funny to have you in that promo, dude. How did you feel being a part of that? Because it was kind of like something a bit different for your character as well, and it was kind of like a little bit tongue-in-cheek as well. How did you feel about doing that?
I love that. I thought it was hilarious. You know, why not?
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. You know, that type of stuff. It's funny. You know, you get on the show, not on the show, in the promo, and you know, like, honestly, why not? It's not like nothing was done to hurt the appearance of my character or anything. You know, it's just it's funny. Like, you know, I
just want to have a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's just fun. Like, I don't get why people, you know, are so protective over certain things. Like, obviously there's things to be protective about in the business, of course, but
sure.
You know, some of the stuff that I see people overprotective about with their character or gimmick or whatever, it's like, are you serious? Do you really think that much of yourself? All right.
Yeah, but would the character actually do that? Like, as well, I think, like, you keep it a little bit real. Like, I'll give you an example. The DJ Sonic Tyson Gibbs promo that they put out recently, where
don't bring this promo up, man. This is funny.
This is fucking funny because someone, I don't know if for those that are gonna go and watch it now, good, go and watch it. But you'll see, I'm in.
If you're gonna watch the promo, please only look at DJ Sonic and Tyson Gibbs.
No. Yeah. I'll do that.
Do not see the fucking stick man running around in the back.
Who's a stick man running around in the background?
I guess you didn't notice, which is good.
I think I know what we're talking about, but I'm not gonna mention. They can go and watch it. But after it, someone was like, "Oh, you didn't jump in to stop it," and I'm like, I stood on the fucking apron the whole time. I'm like, no, why the hell would I? Like, Vinnie Vane's not getting involved in their scrap. That's their problem. Like, I sat there, I grabbed popcorn and I watched this shit and I entertained myself. Like, you monkeys can entertain me. So, like, I'm just playing my character. For me, that's a bit of fun.
100%, 100%, and that brings variety.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, imagine if the camera panned to your face and you're just like, I ain't stopping this.
Yeah.
It would tell
how much more would that add? You know, like, this is the variety that I think I was talking about. You know, like,
right.
Well, it's offshoot stories in that case. You know what I mean? Because like the main story was Sonic and Gibbs, and then like the offshoot story is that of Vinnie Vane being like the cocky prick, going, "Fuck these guys! I don't give a fuck what they do."
Like, if you watch a WWE promo and you see like it's Monday Night Raw back when I was watching in like the early 2000s, like, you wouldn't see like I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not trying to sound like a big shot here, but certain characters wouldn't get involved in that crap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you'd see like the Heat guys pulling shit apart. Like, you wouldn't see like certain, like you wouldn't, to your point, Mankind, like you wouldn't say Undertaker fucking come, with that gimmick and pull people apart in a brawl. You know what I mean? He's nowhere to be fucking seen. Like, you got to play to the character and like what the character is, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see it.
100%.
Like, this is the point where we're trying to say, keep it real. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't show them the strings. Like, this is where shit blurs the line and it becomes a joke, because it's like, oh yeah, I just saw, Vinnie Vane, being a good guy and breaking up a fight when he was just out here 5 minutes ago, telling me to suck this and lick that and come fight him. It doesn't make any sense.
No, exactly. And you know what? To that point, it's funny how because it's such a 360 view pro wrestling, right? Because it's live. You've got audience all around, and it's happening right in front of them, and everyone has a different view, right? Even if two people are sitting next to each other, everyone's got a different view of
subjective.
Well, not even that, like just physically they have a different view of what's going on, so they're all going to see something a little bit different, right? Like they might see it look really hard from this angle versus that angle, like so we have to really be on the ball, at a 360 view, and that can be hard, and obviously that comes back down to body language and stuff. But this is a drill that I actually discuss in training with some of the boys. And Vinny, tell me your opinion on what you thought about it. I'm sure you were already doing something like this, maybe not unconsciously, just sort of in the moment, subconsciously. That's right. Yeah. So probably already doing something of this aspect anyway in your matches on shows. But when I laid it out for you guys, there's the T, there's the X,
and the spiral.
Yeah. Now I was taught the T and the X, as I think many people were in pro wrestling for the ring, right? To sort of max it out in that little pizza box analogy. But although many people naturally might actually do the spiral, no one really ever said that to me.
No.
And it wasn't until I started actually like trying to teach that analogy that I could actually see people for the first time really get down some of the little points of body language, like we were saying. So you were mentioning about how, people turn around, they say this to the crowd, they do this, or they say this to this audience member, because they're trying to really get into the gimmick. But because they don't understand where they are on that show, in that environment, whether they're in the ring or whether they're on the outside or, whatever, obviously predominantly they would be in the ring. Let's keep to that for now. They end up as much as they're trying, right? As much as they're trying, hey, I'm the fucking best, man. Fuck you, everyone. Fuck. They're trying as hard as they can. Yeah. It ends up looking outside pretty shit.
Yeah.
Because they didn't understand the key points about the T, the X, and the spiral and where they are in relation to their opponent.
Yeah.
So, tell me about like what you thought about that when I would tell you guys that as you spiral in, when you're far away from each other, you can stand nice and tall, right? You know what? You can go give you what you remember from that drill.
No. Essentially, it was like, so if you're on one side of the ring and I'm on the other, we're both up because there's no danger. But when you get closer and you spiral in and we're coming in, we're getting lower because we're about to brace, we're about to lock up or hit each other or whatever.
So it's getting more intense as you get closer.
But look at it like danger, like, because like just say there's a dog without a leash. If he's all the way over there, I'm here, I'm fine. But if he's this close, I'm a bit more guarded, a bit more poised, a bit more ready to go this way, go that way, left, right. Like it's common sense, like it's instinct. But because what we're doing is, to your term, fake, there's no fear, because Jordan, I know if I'm standing across the ring from you, you're not out to hurt me. You have no ill will towards me. We're mates, you know what I mean? Which is the worst part, because the realism gets lost. But if I like, let's say for real, you and I had a real life altercation, right? And I'm said, I've got to wrestle you now. I can guarantee you, I'd do that, like what you're saying, the whole spiral apart, closer. I would be doing that for real, because I wouldn't trust your ass. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know. Are you going to shoot on me? Am I going to have to shoot on you? Is this going to get heavy? Like, because I don't know.
And why don't we tell that story anyway?
Well, that's the art, and that's the challenge. That, and a lot of us, like, I've been like this is, I'm embarrassed to say this, but like, I never thought about this as long as I've been doing this. Like, I know when people say, oh, I've been doing it for years. Yeah, but I haven't really been doing it for years. Like, I might have been involved, but I haven't been doing this week in, week out. Like, it's like, I'm a part-time weekend warrior. Like, let's be real. You know, like, but I didn't learn this until recently. And when you said it, it was like, fuck, like, this guy fucking logic like prevails, and like it's like, why haven't I been doing this? And I don't. But even when you watch everyone else's match, like you see it, the face and the heel, and like, you know, the face who's meant to be a little bit poised of this heel is like standing there and he's like, yeah. It's like, dude, you wouldn't be doing that if this guy was really going to clobber you so close to you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, again, we're showing them the strings, and we've got to stop showing them the strings, man.
Yeah, that's it. And it's, and
it was
even
a good lesson.
Yeah, and even on the flip side, you know, for someone like a heel, and you gave the example of the babyface doing, you know, the whole, you know, get behind me, bitch. If there's any aspiring pro wrestlers out there or something that want a little bit of piece of advice, try to go your whole career without ever fucking doing this. Please.
I feel like
I've never done this. 10 fucking years and I've never fucking done this.
Some people do it and it works. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they can.
So does every other fuck on the show. That my point is, like, if everyone else on the show is going to the top rope and doing, maybe you fucking shouldn't. You know, like, it's been done. Don't fucking do it. I've gone 10 years without ever doing this on the show. I'm pretty sure the audience still got somebody to do it on the fucking show. Like, they didn't.
Oh, there's always one.
There's always one. Why? You don't have to be that. But you know, that's another point. But you know, 10 years strong. I've never done this, so yes. But by the way, just hang on. My point is, on the flip side, let's think about the heel. As he's talking shit, oh fuck you, all that kind of stuff, right? Even to the audience, to the babyface, all this kind of stuff. If he gets closer to that babyface when they're supposed to be in their stance, ready to fucking, you know, the heel can be like ready to clock him or something, and he starts fucking talking shit, he just showed total, not even disrespect, but total like fucking to this baby. You just buried the baby face.
Yeah,
because
like he's not right.
I guarantee you, 9 times out of fucking 10, will the baby face actually do something about it? The heel just said, I fucked your mother last night, and he's literally within arm's reach of the baby face. Does the baby face do anything? No. He actually asked to lock up with him.
Yeah, you wouldn't. In a real life, you'd jump on top of him.
You'd fucking snap the shit out of him. This ain't fucking pro wrestling anymore, man. You know, you made this fucking personal. Fuck no disqualification. I'm gonna fucking get this fucking turnbuckle, take it off its hinge, and fucking beat. Like,
and that was actually, I think that was a point. I'm not going to name names, but I think there was a match recently. Like, you guys can figure it out, like between us, and something had happened where in the lead up, something was said, like, as for in context of the fight, like something was said about someone's family, and then when the match came out, that intensity wasn't there, and the heel afterwards let the babyface know. He's like, man, like, that's not how we should have gone down. Like, you should have come at me like, you know, guns blazing. Like, look at what I've done to you. You know, and it was a fair point. Like, and I love the baby face in question, and I'm like, dude, like, learn from it. Like, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's a good point. You'll never make the same mistake again. But to that point, what you're saying, like, it makes sense. Like, look at the context. Like, because too many people are accustomed to, okay, we're going to start. We're going to go, okay, lock up, wrist lock, headlock, shoot me off, shoulder tackle. Like, we're not playing to what the story is or where we've come. And like, if we've been telling this story on social media and building for this matchup, well, how's it going to start? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think when I wrestled Scotty the last AWA show, like, we had a contract signing and fucking did my thing. I threw the table. I beat the shit out of him with the belt. So like, when we came in, I think we like started hot, and the big guy like cross bodies me and gets on top and starts hammering me, and I fucking powder my ass out of there. You know what I mean? Like, it's the psychology, you know, you've got to keep that. And like, I think you agented that match, to be fair, Jordan. So like, you had us all in check with what we were going to do and what we were going to say. So it, you know,
I just really wanted it to get over. I just, whether it got over or not, which I think it did, but I just wanted the intent to be there properly. I wanted you guys to have a clear understanding of this is what we're trying to do, and let's go out there and do it.
Yeah.
So, from what I got feedback on that match, and I think like it was textbook to a degree, but I think because, and this is what kind of annoys me with the scene today, is because it wasn't Canadian destroyer, dive, top rope, moonsault, backflip, whatever the fuck. There was none of that. It was very textbook and calculated, and everything kind of made sense. Oh, it was boring. Do you know what I mean? Oh, It wasn't, it was like I read some dickhead, fuck, I don't even know who the fuck he is. I'm not even going to mention his name, but someone said, I think you might have sent me something with I don't know who the fuck he was, right? Oh, there's nothing good about this match, blah, 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 blah. Like, just because his opinion was boring. You know what I mean? But like someone else, I read a review that someone sent me and it was like fucking best match on the card. Do you know what I mean? Like it was textbook and made perfect fucking sense. So it's subjective. And that's the problem with the fans. Because we've created this like plethora now where good pro wrestling has to include flip 1, 2, 3, 4, dive, X, Y, and Z. If it doesn't have that criteria, it doesn't have Canadian destroyer, you didn't go to the crowd, oh, it's no good.
Well, we'll look at the context, right? Okay, so look at the context of who's actually telling you this stuff, right?
Oh, it's just I don't really pay attention to it. It's just something that got sent to me. I'm like, well, since it got sent to me, I'll have a
let's just say that, let's just pretend for a second that this guy has a following of some sort, right? Probably not. Who cares? And let's just say that there's like 100 more of him, out there in the when the one saying that, however many. We have to look at the context of who's actually making these reviews, and are they really? Is it really beneficial from a few different standpoints to actually take it in? Seriously,
they're reviews by people that are fans.
I know that, but like, just let me just sink into a little bit on it, right?
Sure.
There's a few different standpoints here. Mm-hmm. Number one, how much wrestling does this guy actually watch? Probably a lot, right? Yeah. So he's seen it all. So to him, it's like that fucking hot chick. It's that fucking hot chick. Oh, well, you used to fucking take me out on Saturdays. And the second you fucking don't, you're the worst boyfriend ever.
But you're not.
You're not. You just fucking had to go help your auntie move.
Yeah.
Like fucking hell, whatever,
Yeah.
Oh, but I want to make it clear. I don't give a fuck.
Oh no, I know you don't. I'm just trying to put forth to the viewers at home that there's a certain level of care that should really be put when we discuss these people's names, whether we say their name by name or not. But even putting it forth that it's like, look, they watch a lot of wrestling, so they've seen a lot of stuff. So they're just like that hot chick that's fucking, been dicked 1,000 fucking times. So you could have the biggest fucking thobbiest cock in the world. You know what? You stick that thing in her, it's fucking numb. Yeah, it's fucking numb. Why? And she's just gonna be like, "Is it in? Is it in?" It's like, hey, it ain't my problem. You got the fucking tunnel, bitch.
You're getting canceled, my man.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying, right? So
I get the analogy.
So yeah, okay, girls, be a little more fucking savory about yourselves, okay? Just my 2 cents.
Whoa.
No. Number two, right? Number 2, okay? Right? Because you're desensitizing yourself. You're basically desensitizing yourself when you watch 1,000 fucking different matches and from 1,000 different fucking companies. When someone actually tries to tell you a fucking proper story for once, you're just like, yeah, but like you don't fucking like it. Right? Now, from another perspective, right? From the opposite. Now, we've talked about them. Now, let's talk about you. Is it even in your benefit to do, let's just say the match was what all of those people thought it should be, because you decided to add the Canadian destroyers and this and that and all the other stuff, right? And and you had the exact match that they want you to have, right? Now, that's for them. What about for you? Does this actually benefit you from a repetition standpoint? The fact that we're trying to actually do this night in, night out, night in, night out, and not only night in, night out, you're trying not to get injured. You're trying to make as much money as possible. You're trying to keep your body long term, right? Because injured is a short term thing, right? Can be a long term, of course it can, but it's short term in the sense that you're either injured or you're fucking not, right? So it's happening now. But long term, will your body actually thank you for what you're going to do later on? And apart from all of that safety precautions that we've just talked about, what about the actual fact of, are you even bothered? Like, should you even consider the fact of going through a match that will not benefit you in your next one?
Of course, I'm in agreement with you. I look, at the end of the day, right? I have always done this for fun. Okay. Now you might disagree because are you taking care of the business? I get everything you're saying, right? But at the end of the day, for me, and I've said this before, it is not my career. Okay. Do I have aspirations to make it as a star and be signed? Of course I do. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's everyone's dream to do that. Okay. But I'm a realist. I've told everyone publicly before, I cannot do the starving artist life. I cannot pick myself up, move abroad. I have a family. I have a baby. I have mortgages. I like fucking money. Okay. So what I do in the real world pays me a lot. I'm not going to sacrifice that for pro wrestling. So when I do these matches, right, it's about me having a good time, having fun. Now, me and Scotty had told the story over multiple months. Okay. This is what the promoter wanted. You worked with us at EWA to tell the story and put the match on. Now, at the end of the day, did I get the reaction that was needed when I tapped out and Scotty beat me? Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay, when we did the screwy finish and I put my feet on the ropes and I got out, everyone was like, fuck. Like, I was looking at everyone's like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, and when I came back in,
they were invested in it.
They were invested in it. Now, was it clean, crisp? Were there errors? I could tell you 10 or 12. But, the job was done. Okay, so I don't care what some fucking person, like, it would mean something if I knew who the fuck he was anyway. Like, I don't care what your opinion is. Like, are you going to help me? Are you going to come and say, hey, in future, maybe you could have done this? I'll take everyone's criticism on board. But if you're going to blatantly, like, give me shit on whatever your fucking little blog or whatever the fuck it is you do, like, doesn't mean I don't lose sleep at night, dipshit. Like, because you're actually more invested in this than I am. At the end of the day, I did my match. I had a good time. I got paid. I went home. Fucking life's good, bro.
So I got 3 points to make on that, right? Number one. Now, when Vinnie is, I want people to understand something. Now, when Vinnie says, he's a weekend warrior and he does this for fun, and everything that we just said, that doesn't mean that. Don't get it twisted. If you are, that does not mean that he doesn't respect the business and he doesn't also put it first when it's time to put it first.
That's right, time and place.
That's exactly right, because at the same time, when you're in the ring, you are putting the business first. All right. You are trying to tell a story. You are trying to, elicit an emotional reaction from these people. You are trying to make it as good as that you possibly can. And that's what, the sport comes first really means. Okay. You're putting it beyond yourself. If, like you just said, your real life career makes you way more money. So you are clearly putting the sport first in the sense that you are taking time away from that career. Come and do this because you see it as you're actually able to bring something of note to the table for professional wrestling. And I want to make a second point, which people always forget. Professional wrestling started becoming fake for a reason, to make more money. So when you have people who are basically okay with making no money in professional wrestling, you are the fucking reason why professional wrestling is fake.
Well, that's the thing. What it comes down to, like, we've had this conversation multiple times before. It's like they call wrestling the business, right? That's what it's been called for years. The wrestling business, the business of professional wrestling. For the most part, bro, it's one of the most interesting industries because, bro, it's not treated like a business. No. You know what I mean? Like, people don't treat it like a business because if you look at it, and certain opportunities, bro, where you could turn around and make money and stuff like that, people will go no because they let ego, they let emotion, they let their personal pride get in the way of actually doing that. So instead of actually having something good on their show, they're quite prepared to have something to go without or to have something subpar because of certain pride and certain ego won't allow them to do business.
Agreed. I call it the most unprofessional profession.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a friend of mine in the United States calls it and like this is a veteran of like 25 plus years, and he calls it the unprofessional wrestling business. And you know, like it's just something that's been happening for the longest time. And because you know what, dude, I actually said this last night when I was recording some content where it was like, you know, you look how the business has been over the years. Like you take WWE, for example. You know what I mean? Like it's run by the certain heads. It's like they see certain talent. It's like, okay, no worries. You want to try and get yourself over? We're going to sweep that rug from underneath you because how dare you fucking try and get over it, and we don't want you to get over just yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. Look, I just want to make one thing very clear because I appreciate you backing me up there, Kasai, and like letting people understand my train of thought. I just want to really reiterate. When I say I it's not a priority or anything like that, doesn't mean I don't care about it and I don't love it and I don't give it my best. All I'm saying is when you compare me to some people that have made it their lives and given up a whole life to pursue solely this, I am not one of those people. But that doesn't mean I am any less deserving of success or deserving of a tryout or a shot or to be signed by a big... If a contract was given to me, of course I'm going to be like, you know, hell yeah, like I'm going to take it. I'm going to go for it. You know what I mean? But I'm saying I hedge my bets. I'm a realist. I know it's like a shot at Hollywood. Everyone wants to go to Hollywood. Not everyone can make it. I am not going to be, you know, a 35-year-old person that has nothing to fall back on. Do you know what I mean? Like I've spent my life building my career. So, you know, if this takes off, fantastic. If it doesn't, great. I'm going to retire a multiple Fed champion. I've wrestled the guys I grew up idolizing. Like, you can't rain on my parade, even if you fucking tried. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to make it clear. Just when I say that it's not a priority, doesn't mean I don't respect it. Like, because Jordan, you know, I put in the effort. I train. I take care of my body. Piers, I work with you extensively on our characters, our promos. Like, I am doing it, just not the conventional way that people deem success has to come. I will pave my own way and I will I will be a success, but I'll do it on my terms. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Okay? You're preaching to the choir. I mean, I don't know why the conventional way has, you know, really been hijacked to mean, you know,
got to give up your life. Got to go overseas. Got to train 5 days a week. Got to make it your circle of friends. Like,
but some people that is that their priority, bro. And you look
at it is, but
that's fine. But it's not me.
The vast majority of professional wrestlers in the first place don't even respect the business. So I don't even understand how the conventional way has now become me. When at the end of the day, a vast majority of professional wrestlers do not even care about the business. They care about themselves. They care about putting themselves over. They care about not doing anything to actually put forth the business. They're putting themselves over. So you can be as selfish as you want and take as much time and to pursue your dream and whatever. At the end of the day, if you've only got yourself in mind, you've only got yourself in mind. I don't give a I'm so sick and tired of hearing people saying, oh, I love the business. No, you don't. You love your fucking self. And you want to use the business to get ahead in what you want, not for the business, what you want. And it's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. They don't realize that, but it's true. They don't care. I don't put me first. I put the fucking business first. This is why I'm like this.
But I'm happy to say this is where you and I differ, and I don't have a problem with that. Like, I can actually sit here and tell you I don't put the business first. Like, I put myself.
You do when you're on the shows. I've seen.
No, when I'm on the show, yes. But like, you know how you, I don't want to sound like cliche or whatnot, but like I will throw every single one of you fuckers under the bus for my daughter. Do you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean about what's on, what I've agreed to? Like, now, like, don't get me wrong, big things are big things, but like, it's not my life. Do you know what I mean? It's a part of my life, and a part of my life I'm very proud of, and a part of my life I care a lot about. But at the end of the day, priorities. Jordan, I'm 34. You're 26, 27?
25.
25. Sorry, 25. We are worlds apart, bro.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I want to make a point. I want to make a point because I think we're talking in cross purposes here. When I say put the business first, I'm not talking about
above all else. Yeah.
You do put the business first.
Yeah,
you do.
I do. But you get what I'm saying in context.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I want to get clear that just because other people might put their entire life to the business does not mean that they're putting the business first.
Correct.
That's my point.
That's my point. That's where we're talking. We're just talking different.
We're actually saying the exact same thing. Yeah. It's just it sounds like we're disagreeing. We're really not.
Yeah,
you do put the business first. Every time you have stepped in the fucking ring, especially in the last few months that you have actually been training with me, and I've seen you put the business first. I've seen you put your ego at the fucking door, and I've seen you implement what I have shown you. That's putting the business first because you're not because it'd be so easy for you to just go in these shows and say, me. Oh, I don't care what Kasai says. I don't care what these people say. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Why? Because I've done it for so long and I like it. Duh. But that is how every other fucking professional wrestler, the vast majority of them, do think. They don't care. And forget about me. They don't even care about what. Listen, when I was in the States, right, the amount of people, the amount of students of fucking, the guys, right? The guys that I fucking have had the privilege and honor of fucking training under for months at a time. The amount of students that live down the fucking road from them that have access to these people every single day and actually have the fucking nerve to tell that coach to their face, yeah, but.
The but mentality, bro. Like that's a generation.
We spoke about this the other night, didn't we?
Yeah.
The moment you say but everything you say after that is invalid.
Yeah. But do you see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say. The fact that these people, they literally only care about themselves. There's no getting around it. They could be in the United States with the greatest fucking pool of past, present, and fucking future professional wrestlers, and people will still ignore their advice, ignore their feedback, ignore what they have actually done in the fucking sport compared to what they have done, which is fucking nothing. And forget about what they've done in the sport, what they've done for the fucking sport. Make no mistake about it. We do not need any more professional wrestlers. We are fucking up to our necks and noses in fucking professional wrestlers. We do not need any more. So if you think you're going to come into professional wrestling because, we need no, we don't. We need less of them, as a matter of fact. So it has nothing to do with the sport. You do respect the sport. You do put it first. I've seen you do it time and time again. I do it as well. And if we're going to honestly talk about conventional ways, that would mean, if we're talking about conventional, that would mean you actually respect the sport more than I do because you actually you actually get bookings. You actually are doing way more conventionally than I am. I'm out here fucking grappling for real, wearing a fucking pro wrestling mask, trying to get people to sign, come to fucking shows based on this level of audience retention. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to blend them together. I'm trying to provide a different product that people aren't really used to seeing, but that doesn't mean that just because it's different that it's not going to work.
It doesn't mean you're any less deserving or don't love it. Like we're just we're all different. We're just all different paths.
At the end of the day, are you making money? Are you doing good by the business? At the end of the day, that's all it is. Are you making money by the business?
Yeah.
Are you doing good business?
That's it. And to do good by the business, you have to do good business. And it's very simple.
But I could play devil's advocate now, and I could say to you, for example, let's be real. And I've said this before. You and Piers, you guys know the real me, right? But how the hell do any of you guys watching this know that everything I just said isn't just the work to get you guys to hate me even more? Because why? So you buy a ticket, so you can boo my ass, so you can do what you're supposed to do when I lose or when I win. I could be working every single one of you guys and you will never know.
As you fucking should.
Thank you.
100%. Leave him guessing all the time, bro. But I wanted to ask you this, Kasai, because the promo that we did at the gym, we mentioned it earlier, and it was like I had the idea because the last podcast we did together where you and I did a one-on-one interview, and it did great numbers. Had a lot of people talking, but there was also a lot of comments that came back, and like I got a few messages about it. Did you feel like that first interview that we did a few months ago, like when it came out, did you feel that you got any heat from it? Because like you were very opinionated in certain spots. Is there any like if you did feel like you got any heat from it? And also, did you feel like there's any parts of that you regret what you said?
Before you answer that, can I just say something honestly? Let's be real. Who's gonna have the actual balls to say anything to him anyway? Let's be honest. Like, let's be honest. No one has the balls like to come out. Like, they know they're gonna get fucking stretched. So, like, I doubt anyone. I doubt anyone said anything to you. But please enlighten me.
Okay, well, you're right. Nobody says nothing, and that's why I don't think that I've gotten any heat. Look, I've been told that I have heat with people. Like they'd be like, "Oh, I heard you got a lot of heat off that." Well, I didn't. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear anything. You know, and you know, if people want to have hate. You know, like it's whatever. I've been around many different people from all over the scene ever since then, and things have just been normal. You know, whether they're scared or whether they're just being professional, it's you know, it's whatever. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. Honestly, it's just whatever. Do I regret anything that I said in that podcast? Hell no. I meant every single thing I said. The only thing that I would like to say is that I wish people would actually give me, you know, more of a chance to really, for them to understand what I'm not just what I mean, but how it continues. Because it's one thing to have a point and then to just make the point and not to go any further than that. You know what I mean? It's another thing to make your point, provide an outcome, you know, suggest a solution and work, you know, and compromise and work on from there, which I believe that I am doing right now as I train these guys. Because make no mistake about it, and this is again me putting the business first. I never wanted to train these people. I didn't. You don't think I can just have another training day to myself? Of course I can. I'm giving up training these people.
Yeah.
So what is it you want out of this, Jordan?
Do I get stuff out? Yeah. Do I definitely get things out of it? 100% I do. But does the business get something out of it? Yes. Yeah. And that's why I signed up to do it. That's why, because there's plenty of guys walking around. Oh, no one knows how to work. No one knows how to do this. No one knows how to do that. Oh, yeah. What are you doing about it?
So can I ask you then, if you don't mind, obviously doing this because you want to give something back to the business, right? What would you say then is your, like, what there's a lot of, well, there's not a lot, but there's multiple options here in Sydney, at least, to go and train.
Yeah.
I know why I come and work with you and whatnot. I have my reasons. I don't need to share it. What do you think is your unique selling point as a trainer? What is it that you are offering that so people watching, whether they're an active performer and they want to come over, they're considering it, or they want to get into the business, why should people come to you above a different school in Sydney or a different trainer in Sydney? What is it that you're offering that's different?
It's a great question. So, for those who don't know, I train grappling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu pretty much every day, right? I've been doing that pretty much every day for the last 3 years. Okay, I'm a blue belt, you know, purple belts on the horizon. You know, if you care about belts and shit, I really don't. Now, I also coach every children's class at my gym, Gracie Balmain. Shout out to Balmain Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, and I take it very seriously, even with the kids' classes. And we got kids like 3 years old, you know, youngest, training with us. And does that mean that I'm trying to turn them into an armbar hunter and stuff? Not necessarily, but I am trying to get them to understand certain concepts that will benefit them in the long run. Now, I'm giving my expertise with, you know, children, and I've been teaching children martial arts since 2019. 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
When it comes to professional wrestling, I look at it the same way. You guys are like children. You now need to learn how to walk again, crawl again, move again.
Dumb it down.
You have to dumb it down. You have to make it very simple, not complicated, and you have to give people a purpose to what they are doing. I'm not going to name names, but many other schools do not provide a purpose or an understanding to the concepts or even the lack of a conceptual syllabus that they are trying to actually put forth to their students. The reason why I'm saying this is because if you do not understand the concepts of professional wrestling and what you are truly trying to do, all the things that we just discussed, you're trying to tell a story, you're trying to actually elicit an emotional reaction, all these kind of things. You're trying to actually wrestle. Wow, shocker. If you do not understand these things and many other things, even on a conceptual theory level, you're going to have problems. You know, a lot of people start to give the analogy of the house, the foundation of a house. Well, I take it one step further. Look at the frames of that house. Forget about the foundation. Just, let's just say you got a foundation, right? What about you got an excellent foundation. You know how to take a bump. And no doubt, there are many athletes out there, athletic people. And I also like to distinguish between athletes and, let's say, not as athletic people, right? I can handle both. I can teach both. I will show you the benefits of both. I will show you why you do not need to rely on your athletic ability or lack thereof. Because when it comes back to that house analogy, let's just pretend that the foundation's perfect. There's nothing wrong with the foundation. Everyone uses that analogy as like, you have to not have any cracks in the foundation, otherwise the house won't come up. Well, what happens if there are nothing wrong with that foundation? Because there's a lot of people out there, very athletic people, take a very nice back bump, flip bump, front bump, rolls and flips, and they're athletically very very articulate. They're very good. But are the frames correct?
Right.
Are there cracks in the frames? Are the frames aligned properly? Are the frames of good, a good structure, of good material? Was there time put into those frames, or did they just go up in a couple of hours? And now we're putting the walls in, the roof on, and making the rooms and all that kind of stuff. Because if those frames are not there, you can't exactly keep going. And I think that's where people get stuck in professional wrestling with a majority of the other schools, is that, sure, they learn how to bump, and they learn how to this, and they learn how to that. And you might learn a few moves here and there. But then they start to get stuck with things. Then they start to get hurt with things. Then they start to get frustrated with things, especially when they look over and this guy is way more athletic than you are. And you start to think, what can I do to stand out? He's so much more athletic. He's so much more this, he's so much that. Or they look over to the other side, and this guy may not be that athletic, but the fucking gimmick is like, it's a gimmick. Everyone wants it. Everyone wants that fucking gimmick. Yeah. Everyone's that gimmick. Oh, well, fuck, how am I going to get noticed? I've got this guy over here. He's fucking doing all the backflips and this, and he's so athletic. Oh, and this guy over here, he can't even do shit, but fuck, he comes out and the crowd goes, and people get frustrated.
But that's like anything. That's like any industry, man. There's always going to be people that are better or like get a better response or whatever it may be.
But and also politics.
But let me ask you this. As the coach, because you're putting yourself in the coach's chair, the question was about me as a coach.
Yeah.
Sure.
What did you really do for those students if they're already athletic and they're already charismatic?
Fair point.
100%. I mean, you probably just took
the basics. Coaches come forward and be like, "Oh, I made him." Did you? Did you? You might have taught him the same thing that everyone else also knows, but what did you really show him? What did you really teach him?
I mean, some people
more than that, because it's one thing to have success, right? It's one thing to be on the up. But what about when you fail? What about when you start going backwards? Will you know how to get back to where you were? Will you understand why you failed? Will you make the connection between where you need to be and where you are? Or will you overcompensate and continue to do the things that you think got you there? All of these things are very simple concepts, but they don't get taught.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not bagging on any school right now. Listen, if you think that you're doing a good thing, hey, keep going, right? But I see the cracks in the frames, and I see the cracks in the scene.
Man, can we fix those cracks? Can they be repaired?
Yes.
But also, this is going to be the. So I should say this. This is going to be the marketer coming out in me, right? But like one thing for sure is like as well is it's one thing to be the business, but as the consumer of your service offering, what is it that like you've got to look at it from my standpoint? What is it that you're offering me? What's the value exchange? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm going to pay you money to teach me something. Am I going to learn something? That's right. I don't disagree. I think with a lot of other places and what's on the scene at the moment is there's too many demands. Like this is why certain places I don't want to train. I'm not going to name names. I've got nothing against them. It just doesn't fit me and who I am because so you want me to pay you and then you want me to come and sell your merch on shows I'm not booked. And you want me to drive here and build this ring and do that. And at my age with a wife and a kid, I'm not giving up my free time for nobody, bro. Like that's me. But then there's kids who are like, 20, 21, they want this bad enough, they're going to go and do it, and that's great. But also, they
don't have the responsibilities that you do, bro. Like that's the whole thing, man. Like you and me, bro, we got kids, so we can't go to every single show that we're not booked on, and just I mean, we'd like to go and hang out every weekend, bro, but like
it's not going to happen.
Dad life is different.
Listen, all of that stuff is a part of the politics. That's part of learning the politics of professional wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Now that's a whole different can of worms. Okay, should you have to learn the politics of professional wrestling? You probably have to,
and you will.
Right? Yeah, but what I'm talking about is what you're actually going to learn as a worker. Now, point number 10 on my etiquette board is learn how to learn. Robinson. That's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you to learn how to learn because I could give fucking care less if, I'm the guy that makes you into the star that you are. But I'll tell you what I can do for you. I will teach you to learn how to learn so that you can go anywhere in the fucking world and live your dream.
Yep.
Perfectly said.
I love that. Well done. Well done to you, man, because I can tell you now, thank you, because I've enjoyed training with you. I have learned so much, and I feel as a performer, I've gone from A to B, like really quickly, and just basic things that have taken me from here to here. And you're a great trainer, man. And I wish more people would give you the time and the consideration to actually come and learn something, because I think there's a lot of value to be taken from your teachings.
Yeah. Man. But boys, I feel like, dude, honestly, we're 2 minutes shy of 2 hours. We have gone on and had an amazing conversation. I feel like there's definitely another conversation in it somewhere down the line. And I honestly feel next time we do this, we should probably add our boy Zuko to this, because I feel like that's an extra element into this conversation.
Yeah, I gotta have him. Gotta have him.
I feel like let's do another one probably in a month or two with like adding Zuko into this, because I feel like that's an extra element that we need to do to get it done. But man, I appreciate you coming on tonight, Kasai, to have this conversation. It's great having you back on the podcast for the second time. Vinnie, first time having you on as a co-host. Well, actually, no, this is the second time as co-host, because you did 300 as co-host. So
thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
On here. Kasai, where can everyone find you on social media? Where can everyone go and support you and also support your grappling activities?
And the training school, man.
That's right. So let's start with the training school. So it's at the Lights Out Fight Club in Moorebank, and I believe that they're calling it the Australian wrestling school or something like that. I'm just one of the coaches, so it doesn't. You've also got Tyson Gibbs on hand, and you've also got Jay Sorbet on hand, and Tristan Slade, and we all run on a separate days. So come down, give it a try, and learn how to learn. I would say for me personally, if you go on my Instagram, that's probably the most active thing that I'm really on. I don't really use Facebook too often, but you can follow me there at DSKASAI1. Yep. And then there's Instagram, which, like I said, most active there, DS_KASAI. And then I've got a Twitter, which I probably have rarely ever used. Twitter's a poison fucking cesspool of bullshit, so I don't really use it. But yeah, probably Instagram. And if you want to follow my grappling journey as well, probably look at my Instagram. And if you're into crazy conspiracy theories and all that kind of shit, look at my Instagram stories. I know people like them.
Yeah, I enjoy them.
Yeah, and some of them stuff gonna get me cancelled, some of the stuff I said today. And but the Instagram is probably it. I want to start up a YouTube channel soon. Probably put up some of my best matches and from different times in my career and stuff like that, and get a YouTube thing going. Maybe even get a little web series going on some of the training stuff that I do with the boys. Yeah, all good stuff coming up. And with the grappling, yeah, check my Instagram. If you want to see me compete regularly with Grapple Mania, that's out of Grapple Education in Kogra, you can find them on YouTube at Grapple Mania, and you can see this mask tap people out for real.
There you go, man. Make sure you go follow Kasai. Check out everywhere that he's going. But this has been Shooting the Shit Uncensored with The Truth, Piers Austin, and Vinnie Vane. And as always, I spit facts like snakes spit venom. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, all that good shit. Tap that little red button and tap in, because we bring you the best motherfucking entertainment there is in the world and the best interviews. So take care. All the best. Peace out, bitches.